Welcome to Your Health, where we explore the latest in health across the country. I'm Erica Cardenas. It's back to school time, and we have some tips to get your kids back to learning in person. But before we get started, let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. We get advice from a pediatrician on how to prepare your kids to go back to school, and education for parents on how social media plays a role in drug use. Plus, treatments for neuropathy. All that and more on this episode of Your Health. Most schools are heading back to in-person learning, so we wanted to get your families prepared. Joining me now is Dr. Gary Kirklis with the American Academy of Pediatrics. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Now, first off, I'm sure you've seen an interruption in care for kids at this time. So how important is it to get a wellness check before the school year begins?
You know, it's really tremendously important. We've seen so many interruptions during this pandemic, and I understand parents are fearful of coming into the clinic. But in reality, the doctor's clinics are one of the most safest places to be. All of us are masked. Many of us are vaccinated. A lot of clinics will separate sick from well, and this is terribly important because there are many vaccines that children need. The headlines are surely mostly about the COVID vaccine, but there are a lot of vaccines, childhood vaccines, that kids really need. You know, there's a reason we don't see kids in wheelchairs with polio anymore. There's reasons we don't see kids being hospitalized with diphtheria. It's all because we have safe, effective vaccines. And the only way to get those is to come see your pediatrician. So I definitely urge parents to make an appointment. And even if they don't need to have a vaccine visit, just to be able to come in and have their heart and lungs checked, check their eyes, make sure they can see the board for this coming school year. You know, kids in general are quite healthy, but every once in a while we pick something up. And if we pick something up, we can do corrective measures about it. And then the last thing I urge parents is that, you know, have that therapeutic relationship with your pediatrician. All throughout childhood, there's going to be bumps along the road. You know, your 2-year-old's going to have, temper tantrums or be a picky eater. Your teenager might be dealing with some depression or anxiety, and your pediatrician is a great source of medical advice.
Now, doctor, should kids be getting the COVID vaccine before school, and who is eligible for that?
I definitely recommend children getting the COVID vaccine. It is eligible for children 12 years old and up, and it's the same exact vaccine the adults are getting. We have about a year's worth of data that shows it's both safe and effective, and so I definitely recommend it. As you know, most of the hospitalizations that are occurring currently in our nation are with people who are unvaccinated, and vaccination is a great way to protect yourself.
Now, back to school can be a stressful time for kids, so how do we make sure that their mental health is okay?
One of the biggest things we saw during this pandemic when we suddenly switched, I should say, to remote learning is that kids were really, really starving for that social interaction with their peers. You know, school is not only just a place for kids to learn math and English, but it's also a place for social development. And, you know, when we suddenly removed that and asked kids to be on a screen for 6 hours a day, it's not surprising that we've seen so many children suffering from behavioral health issues like depression and anxiety, or if nothing, clinical like that, just, pure frustration with the situation. So I always tell parents, frequently check in with your children. Ask them how it's going. Typically a car ride is a great way to do that because you have a captive audience, and just check in with them. See how is school going? How are your peers doing? And then also to cut them some slack. And we're asking our children to do a lot by doing remote learning. So cut them some slack. Give them the opportunity to vent their frustrations. But again, I would say check in with your child frequently.
Doctor, any final last back to school advice that you can share with us for parents?
Again, I would urge parents to make an appointment with their pediatrician, and we've seen a lot of interruptions in care, and that therapeutic alliance between a child and a pediatrician, it's really worth its weight in gold. Can ensure your child will have a happy and healthy school year this year.
Dr. Kirklis, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for this great advice. If you'd like more back to school tips, just head over to the American Academy of Pediatrics website. We used to be concerned with kids getting their hands on drugs while in school, but today it is much easier with social media. One group is making it their mission to educate parents about the dangers of today's drug trends.
Ethan is this young man who would light up a room. He is kind, loving, funny, strong, compassionate, and had a heart for service. He was a pure joy to be around. When things got challenging, he was always said, "Mom, there's a purpose to this. There's always an opportunity, Mom." And we've got to speak about that. That was Ethan's heart. Ethan died February 16th, 2019. He was at home, and I found him in his bedroom looking like he was still sleeping.
What we're seeing right now in Arizona is an alarming number of teenagers overdosing and dying from these counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl. In fact, in 2020, 14 children died from opioid overdoses and like these counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl. So right now it's critically urgent and important for us to be talking about this issue. Most of our teens are getting access to these pills in a couple of different ways. We do know that they're using in groups and social settings with other friends. So that's one of the ways that they're getting them. The other two key areas are through text messaging and through social media apps. Offers come to them on their phone and they'll see ads for those selling pills or selling marijuana. And we've seen a number of cases where that's where our kids are getting access to these pills that have killed them is via social media apps or text messaging. It's really difficult to stay on top of technology all the time. And that's one I always say, talk early, talk often, and be there at the crossroads for kids if and when you can. And being at the crossroads means after school, it means at dinner time, it means when they come home from a date or come home from a party. There has to be a conversation, yes, about the substance and the technology, and I think that's really hard for parents because if a child is using, the earlier the intervention, the better the outcome for that child. One of the most important things that parents can have in their home is a medication called naloxone. What naloxone is, it's an opioid reversal drug. What happens with naloxone is it can be just a simple nasal spray. Once you put the nasal spray into the nose, it immediately brings that person back to breathing, their heart starts pumping, and they get a second chance of life. Naloxone should be in everybody's medicine cabinet because a lot of times we think as parents, not my kid, not my neighbor's kid, not my friend's kid. So just take that prevention step and have naloxone in your home, especially if you have young ones or young adults. Everyone's invited to go to talknowaz.com. There's all sorts of great resources on there about fentanyl and naloxone. And also just remember that there is hope and help with healing. If you suspect a loved one has a substance use disorder or is using these fentanyl pills, there's a line that you can call 24/7 and get them into treatment right away.
A friend of mine said, when I started this media campaign, she goes, your strongest advocate will be right to your side. And that is so true. That is my son, Ethan.
Sports are starting to get back into full swing, so if you have a student athlete, make sure to get their sports physical before the school year starts, as it can help diagnose any potential problems before the season begins. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. A way to get dental care at little to no cost, and getting a lifeline to help with the stressors of life. If you're in the need of dental care, you may want to contact Simply Implants Institute. They're a world-class training establishment that provides quality care to patients at little to no cost. Let's get the details.
If you're shopping around and looking for that right implant for you, or you don't even know what an implant is, look no further, right? Simply Implant Institute is where you want to be in terms of care. We have some of the best faculty members, well-trained, over 100 years experience between all of the faculty members. So when you're coming here, you know that you're in great hands.
We provide a place where if you want to be a patient, you can actually come and get top-of-the-line implant dental treatment. Now, one of the things we love about this is all the instructors that are with us, they actually been doing implants for many years. In the Institute, it's primarily all the surgical work, but it's up to you to decide ultimately what you want, whether it's a denture, which you take out in and out at night, or whether it's a hybrid type of denture, which we take out once a year, or if it's a fixed bridge work, where basically you never have to take it out at all. We don't push any certain treatments on you. We want to find out what's important to you, what makes sense to you. During the screening, we see what is your bones like, what is your teeth. We find out all of these things and we say, you know what? Usually we have approximately 3 categories of way that we can get you fixed up. Perhaps maybe there's 2 that actually will work. what makes sense to you? What is actually going to work? You know, if you don't have to lose all of your teeth, but you still need some implants, we can show you some ways we can get your smile right back to where you might want it to be.
Find out the alternative and options that are available in implant dentistry, because there's a lot of practices that are not really focused on everything. And implants is one of those fields that you can have alternative choices, you can stage things, so the client ultimately gets what they're looking for. While we all know that implant dentistry is expensive, a lot of people are confused about implant dentistry, like, oh my God, the cost. Well, as I said before, the cost in implant dentistry can be very affordable for some of the smaller options like immediate dentures with implants, all right? And we have different options available for people that are losing all their teeth. Here at the Institute, what we do is restorative training, and what we also do, we're a surgical course. And you know what? It's crazy as heck. It's actually completely free, complimentary, and actually nothing in life is free. So where's that money coming from? Well, it's the doctors paying us good tuition to give you a complimentary service. And people are like, is there something catch? No, not at all. So you pay for the denture, for example, we'll do as many implants as you need for the overdenture. The only thing that a client is responsible for is paying for the denture. So everybody watching this video that is considering doing implant dentistry, if you want to get informed about an alternative or choice that will change your life, then I invite you to come to the Institute, get the information you need so you can actually help yourself make a good decision by being completely informed in the world of implant dentistry.
Life can be stressful, and the experts at Lifeline PCS are available to give you the support you need to cope with life stressors.
Lifeline PCS is an outpatient behavioral health clinic. We specialize in all modalities of treatment for all populations. We have 6 different locations throughout and we are here to serve the community in any way that they can possibly need. There is a misperception sometimes that counseling is strictly for people with serious mental illnesses. However, given the current times that we're all dealing with the pandemic, we're actually seeing people who for the first time are dealing with behavioral health issues. So we have people who for the first time are dealing with basic needs, not being able to pay rent, not being able to have money for groceries. And so we're really encouraging people who maybe for the first time that they've ever experienced behavioral health issues to come and seek counseling, because it definitely can help get through the really tough times.
The effect of COVID on counseling today has really made a big impact. My specialty is trauma, so kind of seeing it as this almost global trauma that everybody's had to go through, no matter the impact on people personally. You know, sometimes people are just impacted by the change in their environment or the requirement from work or having to stay home. There is a lot of different impacts of COVID, and people have come to see us for grief and loss, unfortunately, and kind of helping navigate through these difficult times. We were lucky enough to be really prepared to go forward with teletherapy, and even that, you know, it's great that we still get to stay connected with our clients and help learn from them. But there is a craving, I feel, from the community just for that personal interaction again and to be in office. And so there's always kind of this underlying frustration that people are grateful maybe that they get to connect or escape, but that frustration that it's still in the same, you know, maybe 4 walls that they've been in all day or for work. And I think the biggest impact is not everybody's home life is safe. Sometimes it adds stresses to stay home or to be in an environment where you feel like you can't divulge all the information you would in a safe, private setting in counseling. And so there's been a lot of challenges that we've just kind of been going through those stages with our clients, you know, grieving the frustration, being anger, kind of being in denial for some people, and helping to kind of move through that acceptance of where we are and what we can do.
The question is it weak when somebody seeks counseling? Does it make them a weak person? In fact, clients that come to us are some of the most resilient and strong people you would ever meet. They are, however, bound by basic survival every day due to traumatic experiences, adversity that they've experienced. They're not recognizing that strength and that power that they have. What we try to do from the very beginning is create hope for them. We hold a space for hope until we can help them quiet down some of that trauma and adversity, and then they little by little start to recognize their own strength and intensity. So it's definitely not a sign of weakness to ask for counseling. In fact, one of the bravest things that I think someone can say is, "Help me."
Before the kiddos go back to school, make sure to get bedtimes back on track. Kids need quality sleep to function in school, anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, depending on their age. Stick around, here's what's coming up on the show. We get answers about the COVID-19 vaccine and how you can treat the pain of neuropathy. We've seen the positive impacts of the COVID-19 vaccine, and the California Department of Health wants to educate the community about why we should take our shot.
The vaccines do a great job of teaching your body or teaching your immune system how to recognize and fight the virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to stimulate your immune system to produce antibodies that can fight off the real disease. So the vaccines, none of the 3 vaccines that are readily available to us actually have COVID, the virus in them. They just help our bodies recognize when COVID presents itself so that our bodies are ready to fight against it. So the vaccines are extremely safe. We've had millions of individuals that have received the vaccines, and these vaccines have gone through the most rigorous testing, gone through several phases of trials, and many patients and many individuals have received the vaccine without any side effects. So like many vaccines, there are some side effects, but most people do very well with them. The things that we tend to see most often, you may have a sore arm after receiving the vaccine. You may have some muscle aches. Some people develop fever or some mild body aches, but most of those symptoms tend to go away within the first 24 to 72 hours. So first day to 3 days. So for people who have pre-existing medical conditions, we often suggest that they are the first in line to get the vaccine because it helps protect them against the risk of having severe disease. So most people who have significant medical conditions should get the vaccine. But if you do have questions, or if someone does have questions, they should definitely talk with the healthcare provider. So as of today, we have received verification through the CDC and FDA that individuals that are 12 years and older can be vaccinated. There are distinctions as to which vaccines that they can receive. So those that are 12 to 17 can receive the Pfizer vaccine, and those that are 18 and older can receive the Johnson & Johnson or the Moderna vaccine. California has strict laws around how personal information is being used for vaccines, and California negotiated with the federal government to limit the required data to share to only information that will not allow an individual to be identified. So there are many different places where you can get a vaccine at this point. You can go to your local community health center where they're vaccinating patients and community members. You can go to local health organizations and pharmacies. And you can also look to myturn.ca.gov or call the COVID-19 hotline at 1-833-422-4255. So everyone getting vaccinated can help end the pandemic by protecting us against new variants, providing protection for the whole community. And with that, we have the power to end the pandemic.
Don't go away, we have more to come on Your Health. If you're suffering from neuropathy, True Health has innovative treatments for you. It's estimated that about 30% of Americans will be affected by neuropathy, and the doctors at True Health can help your symptoms with your innovative treatments.
So neuropathy is actually more common than we think, and it is nerve damage. So there is over 100 reasons to why neuropathy happens. There is diabetic neuropathy, there is chemical and medication-induced neuropathy. There is also idiopathic, which means we don't know why it happens. But regardless of the reason, we need to know why it's happening and how to treat it. Over time, as these nerves are damaged, they cause patients symptoms like tingling, burning, cramping, Patients are not able to sleep. So with time, this can take a big toll on patients' quality of life. It's very important to treat neuropathy without medication because the medications are simply designed to mask the problems. So as we continue to mask these symptoms, they're just going to get worse. And a lot of these medications, they actually numb your brain, which means they numb the pain. They don't do anything about the root cause of the problem. Our most successful patients are ones that are highly motivated. They don't want the pill for an ill formula. We are the type of clinic that will work with people who are highly motivated to get better. In doing so, using these FDA-approved, groundbreaking treatment modalities, we're able to remarkably see patients do better. Our patients actually do really, really well, where we're able to see these symptoms go away because your body can heal. Your body can heal and wants to heal without medication.
Once the regimen was established, I felt comfortable with it, and I have shown nothing but marked improvement. When I first came in, it looked like this. Now that I'm completing my treatment, this is what I look like. Prior, I was experiencing neuropathy and cramps during the night. I couldn't sleep all night. Presently, I can expect to sleep the whole night. I'm walking without a cane, and my quality of life has vastly improved.
So when our patients come in for nerve damage screening, we do a touch-based exam because these patients have been poked and pried so many times, so this is completely pain-free. This is one of our very severe cases, and you can see that because of the many areas that they have complete black. Black is total loss of function. You can see that just few short treatments later, they went from this to this, and this is how we know that they are actually progressing and then they're improving and their symptoms are going away. At True Health, we pride ourselves in treating all patients like family. So we bend over backwards for our patients when they come in here for treatments. They want to be here. They love coming here. We have a location here in Chandler, Arizona. We're also located in Scottsdale. And we are ready for you to come in, again, for that free exam and consultations where we can go over your symptoms, see if you make a good candidate for the treatments that we have. We are ready for you. Let's get your quality of life back. You have nothing to lose but your neuropathy.
Thanks for joining us on Your Health. We wish everyone a happy and healthy back to school year. I'm Erica Cardenas. See you next time.